decided that you want to start creating video content for yourself, but you are now taking yourself out of it because you only have a phone and you don't know how anyone can create all of that with just a phone. That was me until I learned how to reduce the friction from feeling very overwhelmed about shooting this content with my phone camera and not shooting the content. I'm going to share with you some of the things that I've struggled with when it comes to creating content, especially video content. I was having a conversation with somebody who believes that they now need to, look into content creation. It seems as if it's something that is a natural next step. I love writing, so it was only natural for me to want to create written content. I started a newsletter a few years ago where I delivered a newsletter every week for 3 years plus. And because words are my thing, that was a little bit easy. But having to pivot into video content like I'm doing now has come with its own challenges. So I'm going to share with you the things that I had to struggle with so that you don't have to struggle with the same things. First of all, I found it quite hilarious. Well, maybe not at the time, but today I can probably laugh about it. I found it quite hilarious, the fact that I did not know where to look. Of course, like many people, I started off with my video content using my front camera. I'm still using my camera even right now, but right now I am using my back camera. If you participated in the many Zoom sessions that were happening during the pandemic, you will remember how hard it was to look at the camera or other people than to look at yourself. You find yourself, you're looking at yourself, right? It is human nature. So trying to record content looking at your front camera can be quite challenging. So I'm going to share with you what I found with where to look on the camera. The first thing was that I was looking at myself. Now this is me looking at myself, and this is me looking directly at the camera. I hope you can see the differences that I've put there for you. Using my front camera is easiest because the front camera also has a little bit of a filter to it, so it can help you with that self-consciousness thing that comes at times. But your back camera is more clearer, which also means that it shows up a little bit more than you would like to see. Maybe as a start, if you want to record yourself like this, you can use your front camera, but learn to look at the lens versus looking at yourself. One trick that I did when I was recording myself using my front camera was to cover the space where I could see myself so that I could focus on the front camera. So that's one thing. The other thing that I know that many people do, which I also struggled with, especially when people are using a script. They want to look at their script, but they don't want to look like they're looking at their script. I'm not looking at my script right now, I'm just looking at my laptop. But just to illustrate, they want to look at their script to read what is on there, and then they come back and then they do this thing that we do in presentations in corporate, where you start looking and darting around so that it doesn't look like you are looking at your script, also so that it gives the illusion that you are thinking about something. For me, that is the reason I find script recording so hard. I prefer to have this one-on-one conversation like you're sitting in front of me. It is still a little bit difficult for me to pretend that I'm talking to a friend, which is something that many people would advise you to do. But trust me, when you're starting out, pretending that your camera is your friend can be quite hard. So you do need to have a little bit of compassion for yourself, understanding that it's not going to be so easy. So how do you then get over that? I practiced every day for 2 weeks. I was recording myself, ranting at myself, similarly to how I do my morning pages. Recording myself every morning, I would just speak into the camera about getting myself comfortable in front of the camera. So sometimes it is that whole thing that you don't know what to talk about. Now you have your camera in front of you. So as I say, even in my journaling challenges, I always say to people, just write whatever it is. So we are talking about content creation right now, and you are wanting to improve your camera presence and your camera confidence. Now all you have to do is to record yourself saying exactly that. Maybe one day you come across that same video and then you watch it again, and then you can see that it was you trying to get comfortable with the camera, right? So that covers the camera section. The other thing that I struggle with is getting ready. You know, you have a brilliant idea, and because you're still a little bit uncomfortable, these ideas don't always come. You don't have this burst of energy happening for you all day long. So now you have this idea, you want to point and shoot. Guess what? You're not ready. Your face is not ready, your hair is not ready. Ooh, you're not wearing your earrings like I am. You are uncomfortable. The truth of the matter is, getting in front of the camera is very, very daunting. So you want to reduce the friction that comes with getting in front of your camera. When you're starting out, chances are you do not have a studio. I don't have a studio right now to get in front of a camera. Everything is set up, I know where to stand, and then I can just shoot myself. I don't have that. I am relying on my phone, so that means I need to set it up. So how do you reduce that friction for yourself? Because if it takes you too long to get ready, what happened with me was that I would lose the momentum, I would lose the energy of coming on camera. 9 out of 10 times I would be irritated with how long it took me to get in front of the camera. So chances are that video will not happen. So what I found easiest, because I don't have my setup 100% there, was to test for myself where I want to be. What do I mean by that? So me, it is about knowing where to shoot. I've tested a few things for myself, so I know that where I'm sitting is in front of a window, which means that lighting comes easily for me, so I'm going to have a beautiful light. I'm always so grateful to be in South Africa, where it's always, or mostly, 99% of the time, right? You always have good sunlight. So if you have a big window in front of you and you can open up the curtains, light definitely comes in. There will come a time when light is a little bit harsh, but we'll talk about that later. So my setup would be, make sure I know where to sit. Find a spot in a room where you are feeling comfortable with that information being on the internet. Let's face it, we are creating these things and we are going to put them on the internet. So you do want to be able to be comfortable with what you put on there. So if you know that this spot is a spot that you are not very comfortable with, honestly, there is no use for you to force yourself to be okay with that. That is only going to pile up the friction. So you're not going to feel comfortable, and then you're going to feel like, oh, maybe I don't want to do this, and then you're not going to do it. So reduce the friction by having a spot in your house where you can easily stand or sit and do the thing that you are comfortable with the most. I'm comfortable sitting right now, so talking to you in front of the camera with the lighting coming in a spot that I am okay with showing to the internet, then I'm okay. I can now quickly set up my camera and then be able to shoot as quickly as possible. I spoke about getting comfortable with what you want to be putting out there as part of your content. And if the room is that will also apply to your person. So I said that getting ready can be an issue for me. So what that means for me was that sometimes I'm not always in the Zoom friendly phase, right? What is that? I mean, during the pandemic, we called it Zoom friendly phases, where we saw many videos of people coming into meetings looking like they are all professional, dressed up in their tops and their blouses and their jackets for men, and then when they stand up they're in their pajama pants or slippers or whatever. We've seen all of that, right? So more times than not, you are not dressed to be in a photo shoot or in a video production. So my morning routine includes getting ready to start working, right? So this is my little office space. So I make sure that when I'm having my bath in the morning, I would brush my hair as far as I can, especially when I anticipate a shooting day. I then brush my hair so that I can embrace the creativity and the energy if it comes and I am able to shoot that day. So if I can just put on my hair to be okay, then I can quickly change my top and then be sitting in front of the camera at the position or the setup that I have memorized. This is going to be helpful to reduce the friction of getting yourself ready. So now you have your lighting, now you also have your face ready, and you know where to look on your camera. The last thing I want to touch on is how to position your camera. This will depend on the platform that you want to use. If you want to do long form videos, YouTube requires horizontal, and if you want to do short videos or short clips or clips predominantly for social media, your TikToks, your Instagram, your Facebook Reels, then you want to shoot in the vertical position. This is important because each and every platform kind of dictates the type of videos that you put on there. And I'll tell you why this is important. Usually, you can take your horizontal videos and turn them into vertical. It's easier, but vertical is much harder to turn into horizontal because it stretches and then it pixelates and then you lose some quality. So I say it's always important to decide where you want to post these things, and obviously you can just decide to just go with it. I've seen people posting what looks like a video from YouTube, which means that it was done for horizontal ratio, and they just put it on TikTok, and you would see the spaces in between. You see, when you start creating content, you will start to see these different nuances that, oh, this was shot in this way, this was shot in that way. I'm very particular with trying to make sure that I optimize for the platform that I am on. For example, let's say you've created a graphic for your Instagram post, right? The sizes that you have used will not translate well as your stories or as your reels. This is when you start seeing things that are out of screen, not fitting the screen nicely. And if you care about that, it is quite important to select the right shooting position for you. As I've said, YouTube requires horizontal, and short form or social media will require vertical shooting. Obviously, there are many other things that you need to be considering when you are going to be working with content creation, how to come up with the ideas, what to do, how to get comfortable in front of the camera, how to speak naturally. There's a lot of things, and I'm sure there's a lot of information out there. Some of the information will even be contradicting each other, so do not get alarmed. All you have to do is just to decide what are you going to be doing, and if you need help with this, please hit me up and then we can talk about your needs and where you can get started. I hope this was helpful. I'm extremely excited to be documenting my own journey in content creation. I've been creating content, but not nearly as much as I thought I have been. So maybe I've just been in my head more than I've been creating. So let's get you out of your head and creating the content you want. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one.